Hi, and welcome to Main Street AI, the podcast where traditional businesses are quietly revolutionizing their operations with artificial intelligence and winning. In this podcast, I sit down with industry leaders from law firms and professional services, fitness and membership services entrepreneurs, and other Main Street businesses to explore their AI journey. We dive into the opportunities they see, the challenges they're navigating, and the real impact of AI on their industries. Whether you're AI curious or ready to implement, this show brings you insights from leaders who are actually using this technology to serve customers better, empower employees, and drive profitable growth. Today's conversation is going to be extremely valuable because we're talking with someone who combines military discipline with legal innovation. A trial lawyer who's using AI to level the playing field against massive defense firms while handling some of the most emotionally challenging cases in law. His perspective on why the legal field is still in the Wild West phase of AI adoption is eye-opening for anyone wondering where the real opportunities and pitfalls lie. All right, Stephen Whittier with Satori Coach IO, and I'm here with Scott Frost of Frost Law Firm. And thanks for joining me, Scott. If you could please introduce yourself and just tell me a little bit about your background and your role as a partner in the firm.
Yeah, my name is Scott Frost, and I run a seven-person law firm that handles cases across the country. We specialize in mesothelioma cases. We are known as the mesothelioma lawyers. We handle cases for other law firms, and we basically focus in on helping veterans and other individuals who have been exposed to asbestos or other toxins and get cancer. Part of the reason that I was involved in that is that I spent 6 years on active duty in the United States Army as an officer, and I knew and saw a lot of veterans who were exposed to toxins and really didn't have an opportunity to get justice. So we represent veterans and other people that have been exposed to asbestos across the country, and we have done that since 2018. I have practiced as a practicing trial lawyer ever since I got out of law school since 1994. And as I said, I spent 6 years on active duty, and then ever since then, I've specialized in these types of cases, helping these families.
Excellent. Thank you for that overview. That's a absolutely needed service. Do you also do some other types of personal injury as well? But meso is your specialty?
Yes, and as a lawyer, you're not normally allowed to say you're, quote, a specialist in something, but our primary caseload is in mesothelioma and asbestos cases. We also handle other cancer cases. We handle product defect cases, and we also handle personal injury, car wreck, and trucking cases, but only cases that involve catastrophic injury. We handle those cases primarily in California.
Okay, excellent. Um, Starting to get into the topic of AI, what are you seeing right now with trends in your industry? We were just speaking quickly before we started the interview. You mentioned in the legal sphere, it's somewhat of the Wild West right now. If you could speak to that a little bit, that would be great.
Yeah, I think AI is one of those things that in the legal space, people are really not sure what's going to happen. And what I've seen is, unlike a lot of other spaces where everybody is jumping on the AI bandwagon, uh, in the legal space, people are jumping on and off. I think people see the technology, they see the great things that it can do, which it is absolutely amazing. And they're all excited about it, but then they see all these reports where lawyers are getting sanctioned, lawyers are losing their law licenses because they didn't double check what AI was giving them. And it's really interesting to see because I see a lot of people who I would call them dinosaurs who are just kind of putting their head in the sand and trying to act like this AI revolution isn't going to help them. And it's amazing to me because AI is no different than back in the day when we would read cases. They had these things called case notes, and what it was a summary of what the case said at the very beginning of the case. And the very first thing they teach you in law school is never trust those. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that. It's like, hey, AI is great, but you don't have to trust it, and you shouldn't trust it for legal research. But what you can do is you can use it to sort through all the massive amount of data that is given to us.
Mhm.
And we're on the plaintiff side, so we represent people. We don't represent companies. And we do it on a contingency fee, which means that we are spending our own money to work up these cases and to help these clients. And the thing that I am seeing is that, in regards to those particular types of cases, AI can really help because there's a lot of things that we were doing before, like summarizing depositions, summarizing medical records, coming up with new case themes and strategies that AI is really good at. Now you have to have protections in place and you have to make sure that you are safeguarding people's private information. Uh, but it is really making a change in how at least our law firm approaches it. And we have done extensively because we always want to be at the Frost Law Firm on the cutting edge. We have looked at all the different AI products from Chat GPT to the legal specific products. And what we're doing, and this is what I would suggest to all law firm owners and business owners, is everybody wants, it's kind of like when you see these ads on television for vitamins and weight loss things. It's like somebody wants one pill that's going to save everything. It's kind of like the Matrix. You got two pills to choose from, but the one pill is going to do everything for you. And in regards to AI, that is just not, at least not where we are right now, because Chat GPT is really good at certain things, and then other programs are good at doing other things. For example, I have used AI to help with doing presentations. The one thing I will tell you is that if you have a sharp eye and you've used AI at all, you can tell right away if something was generated using AI. I,
Mhm.
I don't know exactly why that is, but particularly like PowerPoint slides, I can see them right away, and maybe that I'm in tune with that, or maybe I'm like, wow, those are so much better than what we generally make. But we're using it for presentations. We're using it to summarize meetings. We're using it to summarize depositions. And we're using it basically as another lawyer to help us out. And so for a firm of our size, which we're about a medium-sized law firm, we're using it extensively to help us really help our clients. And in the long run, I think it's going to be cheaper. I think right now it's expensive, but it's just like when they started out with um, uh, a long time ago when they started with very large televisions. Remember, it was like $10,000 for a large plasma television. Now I can go buy one for 500 bucks.
Mhm.
I think that's what's going to happen with AI, and I don't think you're going to. I think what's really going to happen is that there's going to be AI plugins for all the programs that we use, which you're seeing a lot now, and they're going to be higher level. So that's kind of really what we're seeing. The other thing that we're seeing is that AI is really going to make a huge difference in presentation of things like evidence, because everybody's always said, and I always said, people like me who are trial lawyers who go in and actually talk to jurors, there's always going to be a need for that. But I have seen, and there was a case in New York where a person who wasn't a lawyer had an AI bot that they were going to have speak for them. Now, the court did not allow it, but I could see at some point courts allowing it because his rationale was um, actually kind of made sense, which is he's like, I get nervous speaking,
Mm.
I've told this AI what to say. It's just saying it for me. So I think the world is going to be very interesting. I think that the legal field is trying to adapt it. But I think that every time you read, and it's every single day, I get something where some lawyer is being sanctioned for not double checking their AI. I think until we get through that and people learn how to do it, and plus the AI gets better, we are going to kind of be in this wild, wild west. But I think it's an exciting time. And at least for firms like ours, where we're trying to help people, it equalizes the playing field against the large white shoe law firms that have more money than Exxon has to try to defend these cases. So I think it's very important that firms that are smaller, and particularly firms that are helping people, adopt AI and adopt it as quickly as possible.
Excellent. Those are fantastic insights. You spoke a little bit about some of the concerns with potential liability or compliance issues with using it. Are there any other fears or uncertainties you see, whether any of your own apprehensions or ones that you're seeing within the industry?
Well, for our law firm, I was not apprehensive, but what we did do is we took a deep dive into trying to figure out how we could use it and what we would use it for. And then we went about systematically tasking one individual, and I would suggest this to everybody, that you task one individual in your organization not only to learn about AI, but to test all the products. And if you've had any experience with AI, you can read as many articles as you want about it. Until you put your hands on it, start using it yourself, you're not going to really understand what it does, because it's not just doing Google searches.
Right.
And I think that that is one thing that trend wise, I think we're going to see a lot of, is that you're going to be, instead of people relying upon Google searches, they're going to be relying upon, some type of AI search.
Yeah.
And at least,
It's already happening.
yeah, and at least for marketing, it used to always be what are your Google reviews? What does your local Google stuff look like? And where do you rank in Google? And I think now it's going to be, hey, what when you ask AI who's the best trial lawyer in the local area and who's the best mesothelioma lawyer, I think the AI is going to play heavily in that, because unfortunately, clients don't know what they don't know, which is they don't know that the valuation and what firm you pick as to who's going to represent you, particularly in the cases that we do, the asbestos mesothelioma cases, that the law firm that you pick will determine how much you recover, in all honesty. And smaller firms that specialize in trials get higher values than these guys that advertise a lot. So my concern would be that, if those guys can dominate the market like they kind of do with Google right now, that may be a concern for folks like us. But when people actually do their research and really look at websites and look at what people are actually doing, not what they did 10 years ago,
Mhm.
I think that will help us. And I'm hoping that AI will actually even the playing field, because I can't compete at my size with people who can spend hundreds of dollars per click
Mhm.
for a term. So that's what I'm hoping, and I guess we're going to find out.
Absolutely right. Yes. I think that's a great point and something that I've had multiple conversations with about exactly that just recently. Now I'll pivot a little bit and get into your practice a little bit more as it stands now. So you mentioned you're kind of mid-level. Again, you've got a great reputation, especially for meso. Um, what would you say is your current level with your business relative to your industry, and where are you looking to grow it to?
Well, we are known for being basically a trial firm, which in the legal market there literally is basically firms that will process and take a case and maybe work it up for trial and then hire somebody to come in to try the case. And there's people who will never file a lawsuit. Our practice is I don't like to call it a boutique practice because when you say boutique, you think it's, a couple lawyers, because we've got 7 lawyers that are very experienced, which is equivalent to probably 50 on the other side,
Mm,
because each one of them is going to have 20 to 30 years experience doing this type of work. Um, but what our firm is developing and working on is being able to field multiple trial teams across the country at a moment's notice so that we can appear for any plaintiff because our goal is to help working class families and make sure that they're taken care of. And the thing about this disease, mesothelioma, is it's caused by asbestos. It is one of the few cancers where there is no cure. There's a lot of things they can do to try to extend your life, but they cannot cure mesothelioma,
mhm,
period. And because of that, it really is when these clients talk to their doctor, it really is a death sentence. And what our goal is to try to make sure that these clients are taken care of, and their families are taken care of so that they can really focus in on making sure they get the best care they can and they're actually enjoying that time that they have.
mhm,
And our focus as a law firm is to be able to help more clients and other law firms by developing larger trial teams where we can field these teams across the country. I'm licensed in 8 different states, so we regularly practice um, everywhere from New York City to Hawaii. So we have a national presence, but we want to be able to help even more people and other law firms in being able to adequately represent these clients and to get full value for them. Because as I said before, the value that they get is highly dependent upon the law firm that they hire.
excellent. Um, would you say that that's what your firm does exceptionally well? Or is there anything else you add to that? One of the things I like to ask is like when you're talking to your clients, what is it that they say about you that you hear over and over again that you would say is a particular selling point that you just overperform?
I think that what our clients see is that as a group, and this is what I'm the most proudest of, is that from the top to the bottom, in order to work at our law firm, you have to really care about these clients and to do the best you can because we see people on the worst days of their life.
Mhm,
I mean, when you get a cancer diagnosis, that is going to be the worst day of your life. And trying to think about how you're going to uh, explain that to your family, to your wife, to your sons, to your daughters, to everybody involved that you have this diagnosis that you're just not going to recover from. It is powerful. And what our team does is they walk these folks through here's the process as to how we can make sure your family's taken care of. Here's information on the latest medical. We will share with you, we're not doctors, but we will share with you what our experience has been and what our clients' experience has been doing different treatment techniques.
mhm,
And we have a group of people who put the clients first. And I think that's probably what the clients would say the most is that our people really do care. They put the clients always first. And we really make sure that everybody who works for us understands that it's the clients, not the law firm, that is the most important thing.
Very well said. That's great value add too. To be able to offer them your experience, not just the particular uh, work that you're doing for them on the legal side, because you can only imagine, like you said, the worst day in somebody's life, and then their mind's not even straight as they are turning to you in the beginning. So having somebody be able to walk them through some of those, navigate all those uncertainties is going to be incredibly powerful. Um, so with that said, kind of turning back to your business goals, more short term, where would you like to be with the practice in the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, I think I'm not probably the best business person to be honest. What we'd like to have is one full trial team set up, and that's separate from my trial team. I have my own trial team, and so we're trying right now to set that up. And that's my goal by the end of the year is to have that fully functioning, fully trained. And that's the big thing with AI that I like is that we're using AI to train people how to get up to speed quicker on trial practice and how to do opening statements and do closing arguments and how to evaluate experts and expert testimony. And so, what I would really like is to have that fully integrated into our law firm as to how we can use AI to help us in not only our day to day, but in our preparation for trials. Because we have a massive amount of data and we have a massive amount of transcripts and a lot of different things that we can pull upon. And traditionally, what I would do is I would just go back and I would pull out my old notebooks and I would pull out my old books and I would just go through them.
Mhm.
Now I don't have to really do that as much because I can put a lot of those materials within AI and I can have a conversation with AI about, hey, how do I best say and do these things? And so for me, what I'm hoping is that AI allows us to fully implement having another full trial team ready to go on a moment's instant. Kind of like when I was in the Army, we were able to deploy anywhere in the world in 12 hours,
Right.
and I'd like to have that same for our law firm.
Fantastic. And do you see any challenges for being able to bridge that gap from your current team to being able to build that team out over the next year or so?
Well, I think the challenge always is people. And it's always hard to get people who are wanting to be on board because this is not a 9 to 5 job. And so we really, in our recruiting, what we've focused in on is recruiting for the right person, maybe not somebody who has the experience in that particular job, because we have made that mistake where we hired people who were had a lot of experience, but they didn't want to do it our way, or they weren't someone who was willing to go, hey, we want you to start using Chat GPT and they're like, oh, I don't need that. Well, yeah, you do, because that's the standard here. So I think that people, as in most businesses, really is the problem. We're fortunate right now that we've done a really good job of recruiting and we have really hardworking and dedicated people. So I'm hoping that we don't have too many future challenges, but I think we're always looking for people who care about other people and that want to work hard and care about making a difference in people's lives. And so that to me is probably the biggest challenge is how do we recruit enough people that really do care and are rowing in the same way that the rest of us are.
Well said. And then I already get a clear picture from everything you've said about kind of your firm's vision. You even just said it there in terms of being very client centric, client first, especially this particular type of client that suffered these types of injuries or diagnoses. But is there anything you'd add about on a very personal level, not speaking so much from the firm, but what really gets you out of bed in the morning, last thing you think about at night, in terms of what's most important for you as a driving force for what you do?
Well, the most important thing for me is my father passed away from cancer. He was an individual who smoked a very little bit of time in his life, but he was around asbestos his entire career. And he worked his way up. He did not have a college education. And one of the things that he stressed to me was that I needed to go to college and I needed to graduate. He didn't care what it was in. It turned out that I really wanted at a young age, become a lawyer and not just any lawyer. I wanted to be a trial lawyer because I saw trial lawyers as people who could really make a difference in our society. And so every day when I wake up, I am raring to go so that I can go and try to make this country a slightly better place. The same thing that I did every day when I woke up in the United States Army and I strapped on my boots and we had to go to places like Bosnia and other places where, uh, if you go to a war-torn country and you see what humanity will do to each other, um, you'll know that this is worth fighting for to make sure that we don't go down those paths. So that's what I wake up every day thinking about.
Excellent. That's a life of service right there. So I'm sure your clients really appreciate that, as well as your team. So, Scott, that's all my questions. And I really want to thank you for those insights. You had some really great ones, not just about your firm, but largely about AI. I think they're going to be very helpful for others to hear too. And then people know in the description and everything exactly how to reach you. But if you want to add on um, any ways to contact you real quick, I'll just give you a minute to do that before we wrap it up.
Yeah, if anybody wants to contact us, we are at themesolawyer.com and thefrostlawfirm.com. And if anybody needs to contact me directly, my email is scott, SCOTT, at frost, FROST, lawfirm.com.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks so much for your time. That was excellent. Appreciate it.
Great. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it.